QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Fixed asset items setup new QuickBooks file. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Here we are on the desktop. We have our QuickBooks program here. We're going to open up the QuickBooks program. We're going to set up a new company file that we can practice with, and we're going to put that company file here. As we set up the new company file, it's very likely that QuickBooks will put it in some other location. We will then find that location. We will cut it and paste it or move it to this location. Note that if you're working with a standard company file and you don't know exactly where it is, you want to locate exactly where it is so that you have an idea of where it is. Just a good idea to do that, especially if you're going to be working with multiple files. We will show how to do that as we set up the new file as well. Let's open up the QuickBooks program, which will most likely open up the prior QuickBooks data file that we had been working on. So now I'm going to close this data file so we can set up a new file. Note that you don't really have to close it. You could set up a new file by just simply going to the file dropdown and new company. That'll then close the current company and open a new company. But I want to close it out here to show that you can then find your company file in this QuickBooks intro page. So this is the intro page when no other company file is open. You can hover over the last item you had open, which is this one, and that will then give you the location for it. So if you don't know the location of your company file, I suggest finding it, then writing down that location somewhere, or putting it somewhere that you know where it's at. So now we're going to set up a new company file, which we can do by either clicking this button down below. I like to do it with the File tab up top because that's always there. And I'm going to go File and set up a new company. So setting up a new company. I'm going to make the company for someone else so that it will not pull over my information from Intuit. And then I'm going to set up another company, which is going to be, I'm just going to call it Fixed Asset Practice. Practice file. And then the industry that we can choose here, I'm going to pick a general industry. I'm going to say that it's going to be product-based industry. So general product-based, that means it's going to give me a chart of accounts. I want to see the chart of accounts, even though we're going to be focusing in on just the fixed assets, because you have a lot of different options in terms of how you're going to set up your chart of accounts. So we'll consider that as we go. We'll see the default on what they did and see if we want to adjust it, because you may want to adjust it. So I'm going to say, okay, there, and then you need the business type. We can choose whatever type. Any type will work. I'm going to go with the sole proprietorship. Then we just need the emails, the only other required field. All the information down below, not necessary for our practice on the fixed assets. I'm not going to fill that out. I'm just going to add the email, then push forward. There it is. It says we're all set. I'm not going to purchase up anything else here, so I'm going to say no upsells for me, please. And then this one, I'm going to close this out. I'm going to maximize the home page. Let's maximize the home page. I typically like to have the open windows open, so every time I open this thing, I go to the View tab and open up the open windows. And we're going to be concentrating in then on the lists and the item lists. So two places we're going to be focusing in: lists dropdown, chart of accounts. We already have a chart of accounts populated for us. We're focusing in on the fixed assets type of accounts. We only have one account that was set up for us automatically, that being the furniture and equipment. So the first thing we want to think about if we're doing this from scratch is, okay, how should I set up my chart of accounts? I want to line them up to make things as easy as possible for the tracking of furniture and fixtures. Not the first thing most people think of when you first set up the accounts, but when you start to get to put in that information, you might want to make that as easy as possible so the recording of the depreciation, purchases, and sales will be as easy as possible and can line up then to any outside software you're helping to support the process, such as tax software. You can get that from your accounting firm, CPA firm, or tax preparer. Now then, the other thing we're going to be focusing in on is the lists, and we're looking at the fixed asset item lists. So nothing here so far, and we'll be adding those lists as we go. I'm going to go ahead and close up the company file and look to see where they put it, because if I minimize this, note they didn't put it where I wanted. They didn't even ask me. They didn't ask me. They quit into it. You didn't ask me where I wanted to put it. So I'm going to go find it and then put it there. So to do that, I usually will close things out by going to the File dropdown, and then I'm going to say that I want to close the company file, Then this is the last one we had open that we just found. Now I've got the file closed, so once I go locate wherever Intuit put it on my computer, I should then be able to copy it or cut and paste it or move it. If it was an open file, then I couldn't do that. So although the program is open, no company file is open. I can hover over this, see where it's mapped to, find it, and then I'm going to put it where I want to put it. So now I have done that. We have the QuickBooks file here, and now I went and found the file. I cut it, I pasted it, and I put it where we want to put it. So we don't have to just accept, wherever QuickBooks just puts it someplace, you could move it. So we went and we moved it here. So here, this is the QBW file. This is like the data file. This is similar to the relationship between Microsoft Word and a Microsoft document, meaning the Microsoft document, if you double click on it, will open up the Microsoft Word program and then the document in it. Although you could also do it the other way, open up the Microsoft Word program and then find the document to open within it. Same thing here. You could double click on the QBW file, which would then open up the QuickBooks program and the data file now within it. Or you can open up the QuickBooks program, which is more traditionally done, which would open up to the prior data file you had. And if it wasn't the one you wanted to work on, then you can change the data file to the current file that you want. Because you do not double click on the QBW file often, that's why most people don't really know, where it is. But you could double click on it, and it's useful to know where it is. This is where ours are.